meeting to order. If you would stand with me for the flag salute. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Number 3, we have moved to the front of our agenda any citizen desiring to be heard. Do we have anybody who wants to address the board?
Might explain to them, Mike, if they want to discuss any of the agenda items, now would be the time to do it, if they want to get there.
Well, it may be that we're going to be getting input from citizens on those agenda items. I think that's definitely something that we need to approve. All right, number 4, consideration and possible action on approving minutes of February 2nd, 13th, 20th, and 23rd of 15.
I'll say move. I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, moving on to,
If you want to sign those after, you can.
okay. Item number 5, we have the discussion with Fawn Coburn,
Who's not here?
and it should have been in others regarding placing on the ballot for a vote by the people of Logan County, allowing for the sale of liquor by the drink on Sundays. And though I understand that it says Fawn Coburn, we have several entities here, and I don't believe we have Fawn Coburn here.
She's not here yet.
But I'm sure that she was going to be.
I don't know what the reason is why she's not. I've talked with her a couple of times.
Okay. Can we have your name, sir, for the record?
Nash Martin,
And you represent?
Cimarron and Cedar Valley golf courses. Jan Hanson has bogeys at Cedar Valley, and I have Sand Trap Lounge at Cimarron National.
Okay, sir.
And we're just here to discuss the issue on liquor by the drink on Sundays, numerous holidays in Logan County.
Right, sir. I have spoken with, or at least gotten feed from Aaron Doran concerning the election, and I believe that if we do put this on the agenda, or put this as a question to the county, that March 12th would be the latest we could do it if we wanted it on the May 12th election, which also the Guthrie School Board is asking for an ad valorem tax. The mainest issue I have with that is that it would cost the county $13,000 approximate dollars to put that on there. Now, the school board, I'm sure, would like that, because then they would not have to pay anything for that special election. And otherwise, I have spoken to Debbie Prather on this issue. She doesn't see a pressing time limit on this. The other time that might be available would be the presidential primary, which is a statewide vote, and that would not cost the county any money. And speaking of Vaughn Coburn, she says, well, we need it now. And speaking to Debbie Prather, she says, I'm good with waiting. So I have both Ellen here and you guys. Ellen, would you like?
I'm
Go ahead, Larry.
Ronnie Gage. I'm with Gage's Steakhouse here in Guthrie. Been here for 5 years. And I agree with that. I don't see a problem with that. If you know, I don't see why we should have to spend a lot of money to get this if they can get it for nothing, basically. I mean, wait a little bit longer. I mean, we've waited how many years now, 100? Another 6 months, 8 months, whatever, ain't gonna hurt us or kill us. But we need to try to get this done and see what we can do with it, because, I mean, as far as myself, and I'm sure they'd say the same thing, the county and the city's losing a lot of tax money, and I'm talking, you know, I probably lost $10,000 in sales in one day this last year because they went to Edmond and Oklahoma City to spend their liquor and beer and eat on a Sunday. That's the picture going people. I mean, every time we have them coming in here, they want to do an after party and this and that, and usually it's on a Sunday because that's when they shut it down and all that on the weekends. Saturday's their last, you know, filming or whatever, and Sundays they want to have a party and stuff, and we can't do it because we can't sell liquor, and so they're not going to, I mean, they want to drink, so they're not going to sit here and eat if they can't drink. So they went to Edmond, Oklahoma City, spent their money. And that's happened several different times, I mean, on movie films and stuff like that. So we're, not only am I losing a lot of income and everybody else here, y'all are losing a lot of money in income because of taxes, you know, being paid into the city and paying into the county and stuff like that, so.
Well,
that's
the county don't receive any taxes
Okay,
on
well, the city-
the alcohol.
No, we don't, but we do on the
You
food.
do on the food.
Right.
Yeah, that was $8,000 that I lost on one Sunday.
I'll tell you where I'm at on that deal is, I agree with Mike, I would never spend $13,000 to put this on the ballot. Monday, we got another deal coming before the board that might be another ballot question. It would be foolish for us to spend $13,000. And maybe next week have another ballot question. I mean, I'd rather wait, put it on a piggyback with the state and be out very little money as $13,000 for this.
I don't think we should cost ourselves anything to do anything, I agree.
Helen?
Helen Price. And I'm with Lazy E. You know, on Sunday is not as huge of sales for us because, one, you can't serve alcohol before noon on Sunday anyway. But the other part of it is we already have a short day because everybody's on the mindset that they're going home. So our day is done between 4:30 and 6 o'clock. Where on a normal business day, we're open anywhere from 9 o'clock to 2 a.m. So, but what the sales tax that you are losing isn't on the alcohol sales. It's not on the beer sales. It's on the food sales. In order for him to sell that nice hamburger that they have over on their golf courses, because they do have a really good food service there, a lot of folks just want to review their whole 18 holes, have that little cocktail before that burger arrives. They eat their burger, they go home. Well, if they can't have that full experience, they're not going to stay here. It's the same thing with his restaurant, the same thing with Vaughn's restaurant. That's what they want, is the full experience. I mean, we see all of, if we have one that extends through the weekend, I can tell you those Sunday people are not coming to Guthrie. They're headed right over to Edmond. They know exactly where everything is. And it'll actually, even once you probably have liquor by the drink on Sunday, it will take you a year or two to even recover from the reputation we have of not wanting to fully serve our clientele.
Well, just for heads up, I would never spend $13,000.
And I would not do that. And I think it's going to take the Southern Logan County group that doesn't always come up to the meetings, doesn't always really engage in Guthrie. They will head off to their shopping dollars over to Edmond. And unless you get their attention and you get their vote, I don't know that it would pass. I would rather be on a state or a national election. And I would rather defer it to that primary for that reason.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm at Bogey's at the golf course, and not only Sundays though, we have holidays that are written in our law, 4th of July, Memorial Day, and Labor Day, that we have tournaments, and which are thousands of dollars for us, but we lose them because of these holidays. That's the time when people are off. They do, you know, they'll call and schedule, and they say, this is what we'd like, alcohol, hamburgers, but we can't. It's 4th of July, sorry. So they take their 100-man tournament to Edmond or Oklahoma City where the laws are different. So I would like to, you know, if it's written on the ballot, I think it needs to stay not just Sundays, But
true, yes.
to, you know, we will, for our posers on Sunday, you know, there's a lot that say that's a, you know, Sunday is the Sabbath. Well, if it's written where you don't say Sunday, you just say it can't, we will not serve on Christmas Day, Thanksgiving, the family holidays, then it might pass also. Because I fear that just stating Sundays, we're going to have some opposition.
But
But I
currently.
agree as far as having it with a presidential, I mean, or a bigger
Yeah,
election.
they're currently on President's Day, that's a national holiday, so you can't serve on President's Day. You can't. Or
our-
Memorial Day weekend, which is, I would think, fairly huge for the lazy. Then those holidays,
Well, actually, I think we have a youth event on that one, and we won't serve alcohol if it's a youth event, unless the youth event says it's okay. It's kind of like the wildlife department, when they put 45,000 people on our grounds, we don't serve one drop of beer, alcohol, or anything else. There's way too many sharp things going on. And we're sensible in knowing that that's where that is.
but that's a policy.
It's a policy. So even when mounted shooters are there, I mean, those are blanks, they stay in the arena, they've got really restrictive things. You don't drink alcohol until it's completely over. There's nothing. They get caught with it, they're off the grounds. It's that simple. So, and I'm pretty sure the Silverleaf is the same way, is they wait until after theirs is over. Because we've actually been their venue to feed folks after tournaments, because they don't have an enclosed area that will seat as many as we will. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic that you have surrounding alcohol, but it's that food sale, and it's that non-alcoholic sale that you guys are all losing.
A lot of bucks on it.
That's a lot of dollars.
Well, there's a lot of golf tournaments that we've had on Sundays that have gone to different courses in Edmond. 150 players and almost $40 a green fee. You know, going to just 20 minutes down the road.
Sales tax on that as well?
Yes,
Mhm.
quite a bit. All because, you know, we get a lot of company tournaments, fundraisers, charitable events, and a lot of people drink alcohol on those. Don't have to like it or not, but it does cost golf courses and other restaurants
One of our
quite a bit in
recreational
revenue.
pursuits.
Then I had discourse with the manager for Habaneros. I like going to Habaneros about once a
Oh,
week.
bless his heart.
And they're down there on Waterloo, and what they tell me is Sunday afternoon, people will come in to have some good Mexican, Tex-Mex food and get their drink, and, oh, I'm sorry, we can't serve. So they basically go across the street into Oklahoma County where, yes, they can. They just get up and leave. So they're also losing money. I think this is more of a tax revenue, money issue for these businesses than anything. But again, from what I'm hearing, this is something that may want to be put onto the presidential primary at that time. So, this is
I can
for,
tell you that I would never vote to spend any county dollars
No, no.
on a single question like that, just won't do it.
I just don't think you won't get the turnout you will, as you will on that primary. And you need a heavy turnout for this.
Yes.
And one I don't think will belong with the
You're
school
very-
on anyway.
Yeah.
That's just my thing.
Yeah.
But I also equally think it's important how it's written up.
Yeah.
I don't know who does that, how it's written.
well, our assistant DA would do the language
Do
on
that.
that. He's also the one that did the same for Payne County and visiting in Payne County. The loss of revenue is exactly the reason why they put it onto the ballot.
Right.
And
I think Rogers County just passed.
did they?
Uh-huh.
Any other discussion?
In my view, it should be with the school board anyway, on the school election.
No, I want to
agree.
avoid that one.
Yeah, I ain't gonna spend money to do it.
Good idea.
Go ahead, Logan, sorry.
No problem. I agree. I don't think we should spend a lot of money to put a single ballot issue forward as well. I do hear a lot of discussion, a good discussion from business owners, and I think the best thing we can do in government to help businesses to get out of the way. So.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm hearing is not just, I mean, the words mean something. So I hear issues about just calling it the Sunday thing, and I think that if the business owners want to help write the referendum and frame the wording, I think that we should encourage that. I know we don't have an action on the agenda here, but I think we should encourage the business owners that are affected by this to have some input on the wording of the agenda. And then the next time we have a ballot that's going to come up that's already paid for, probably not the school bond, then this thing gets put in, or we give the people the opportunity to vote on that issue. And that's all I have.
And I do believe on that primary for the president that it will be quite a turnout, considering the politics of the nation right now. So I believe that ends our discussion on that.
So, can I say one thing?
Anybody else? Fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say is, this gentleman here is negative on this as far as the $12,000. I understand that, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, but you gotta look at the wide picture, and that is your $12,000, if we did it, I'm not saying do it this way, but I'm just saying, you're saying no to that because that's the way it is. I understand that, and I agree with you, but you gotta look at the big picture. That $12,000 is gonna come back tenfold within a year's time to y'all, that y'all are throwing away and losing because we don't have it. But I agree with doing the presidential deal and all that, I agree, but I just wanna say, you know, hey, that $12,000 is a lot. I mean, if we had to do that, that's a lot of money. But that would come back tenfold in, you know, a year, 2 years, whatever. So that's the only thing I'm saying, is you know, it's a, not a lose deal. It's something where the city is going to get their money back in a period of time pretty quick. Because you got everybody around here that's paying tax, their taxes are coming into it. So that's all I want to say. But I agree with you. Okay?
Just to be clear, I'm not gonna spend $13,000
I
for a
understand.
single ballot question. And with Monday, we gotta deal with the EMS coming, and I'm thinking, I don't know what they want for sure, but I think they're wanting a question on the ballot. So it'd be foolish for us to spend
I agree.
$13,000 here,
I totally agree with
$13,000
that.
there, when we can wait for a year and put it on the state election and piggyback for a little bit of nothing.
If we do have a special election, and I'm saying
If one comes up for, there's gonna be a lot of things.
would that be something that we would want to consider?
I don't know.
Because that's March 9th is going to be a special county commissioner meeting. We could have it on that prior to the March 12th deadline.
So I think you're missing it though, we'd still have to pay for it. If you
If
wait
we
a
are-
year, you go with the state.
What I'm
because
saying
of our-
though is that we still don't know about the EMS district team. And so we're gonna have that discussion come
And
Monday.
that's not today.
So what I'm saying is, but I'm still saying, is there a possibility we might wanna put that question on there?
I don't think.
If we're already going to
Mike.
possibly.
Now's not the time to make
Now's
that
not the
decision.
time. Okay.
This is,
So, all right.
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
no further discussion.
yeah,
Yes,
again, my preference is that it stays over on a state or a national election. Jan and I worked on this before, and just to get even the signatures to get it on the ballot was
Well, it's
really.
because we're such a tourist town that what I ran into with the petition was half the people that, 100 people that came through my bar were not Logan County registered
Residents.
voters. So they were tourists. And
And the
I was
folks,
embarrassed to say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't serve you.
and we're a commuter, area. I know I have seen those stats to how many.
60%.
60% of our folks leave this county, go away every single day, and then they go home. Well, in order to get to that signature, Jan and I would have had to go to every one of those residents and knock on the door. Well, there's a few residents, I don't really want to go knocking on the door because I have to go through their acreage and they're wondering, who is this fool coming up my acreage? And it's a lot of walking. So we had a hard time finding those signatures. Well, in order to get that vote alive, you're going to have something that has their attention. A lot of those folks are not in the Guthrie School District. They have no reason to want to get excited about that. Now, EMS, I can see where they should have, that should get their attention. I know that that's not in the discussion, but that state vote, that national vote, yeah, that gets their attention.
Any other input?
I appreciate y'all's comments, and I'm not trying to kill it, I'm just.
No, I understand that. No, and like I said, I agree with what you say. I'm wholeheartedly as far as the spending the money if we don't have to. I agree with that. I'm just saying if something was, like and that's not now, so we'll just drop that. But yes, I agree with you 100%. But I just
Well, how
want,
do we go about that? Do we need to be back at that meeting? This
Would
March
you
time?
identify yourself?
I'm Nancy Powell, one of the owners of the Jungle. How do we go
Well,
about
the
that for
only-
this March
yeah.
time meeting?
Well, the only
This next
reason
meeting.
I didn't want to put it as early as possible, you know what, we've suffered through this for a long time. I mean, a really long time, I'm from the east. I want to give it as much opportunity to get this done, passed, and taken care of. And if Jan and I didn't have that history over on that last time we tried getting it on, just getting signatures was hard.
Sure.
I can't fathom, if you've already got a county that has voted down Guthrie School District, how many times?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't recognize, the only way you're gonna improve your schools is to provide it money to fix itself. Well, let's find a different election time, and let's give it the most success. This is my only thing with that.
I guess my question is this March, this next meeting, our opportunity to get it on the next one, the year out one, or whatever we're talking about?
I think what we was talking about, Nancy, is that EMS, I think, is coming, not EMS, but the city of Guthrie's coming to our board meeting. And I think they're wanting to expand the district. Now, I'm not sure, we haven't listened to it
Sure.
yet. But, I think that's what they want. And so that was one of my comments, why would I spend $13,000 just for this?
Exactly, I understand
Next
that.
week, I might have another one. Don't know if we'll go that way or not. Who knows?
yeah.
And then also, I didn't think that this ought to be on with the school board, or with the
Right.
schools election
School
anyway.
board.
Can I clarify something?
Certainly.
I think the March 9th, the discussion was if they chose to move forward to try to put this on, and you can clarify this, Todd, when would be the soonest that this board could take the action to make that happen? So the discussion was, well, March the 9th, you could have a special meeting, get the paperwork done that would allow it to the election board by March the 12th. That has not been a set called meeting. That was a discussion on if we move forward to hit this next election,
Exactly.
when do we have to meet and get the paperwork done?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So there's not a called meeting for tonight.
Okay.
But Guthrie is on our agenda for Monday, March 2nd. If y'all, I mean, you ought to attend. I mean, It's something that you ought to be interested in. It's about EMS, pretty important.
Yes. And ambulance service. Moving on. Appreciate everybody, all your input on this. Moving on to item 6. Consideration and possible action on accepting bi-monthly report of David Ball, Emergency Management Director.
David, I thought all these folks showed up to see you today.
No, but they're not all running out just yet.
Thank you for
Just kind of the highlights of the last couple of months. Places I've been, things we've gone and done.
So on that January 6th event, who scheduled that? I'm just curious.
You said Oklahoma County LAPC.
You attended an earthquake.
Yes.
Oh, it was an exercise.
It was an exercise.
I thought somebody scheduled a real earthquake.
Oklahoma County LAPC had they call them virtual tabletop exercises.
Right.
And I was invited to go attend that. Thought we could learn something. It was a good deal.
Make a motion to approve his bi-monthly report. Accept.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, consideration and possible action on proclaiming the week of March 1 through 7, 2015 as Severe Weather Preparedness Week.
This is something the National Weather Service is doing. Anytime we have an opportunity to get the word out to anybody in the public that maybe they'll see it and think about what do I need to do if the weather gets bad. And so this is just one of those opportunities. This is also one of the opportunities for my SLA grant for public, get that out, the word out into the public on that. So I would encourage you guys, since you all are still here,
Please tell us, Steve.
if I may take a minute, this would be the perfect time. Weather's nice. Well, it's gonna be a little cold today, but you know, where are you guys gonna go if something bad happens, if there's a tornado warning? You gotta know that ahead of time. Well, I'm gonna be over here, so I don't wanna be there. But this is the perfect time to think about where you're gonna go. If you have a cellar, when was the last time you were in it? You know, you go look in it now and it might have scorpions or a mouse or something in there, and if you're deathly afraid of a mouse and you're in there, you might have issues. But now is the perfect time to think about what you're gonna do before, and to encourage everybody to have a plan, make a kit, stay informed, and if you have any questions, holler at me.
Well, and certainly being prepared for severe weather will be foremost in everybody's mind come this weekend. And the rumor has it. I'll say that.
Thank you guys for your support on that.
All those in favor?
Aye. David, thanks. Appreciate everything.
Passes. Item 8, consideration of possible action on approving resolution supporting and requesting the removal of the American burying beetle from the endangered species list. This is an issue for the state. The burying beetle, I did find a farm down there at, what was it called, Skulls Unlimited, and they have 3 big tanks where they remove all the dead flesh from animals so that they can sell the skulls, etc. But they are not on this credit item. And initially, when it was put on the endangered species list, which mainly covers East Oklahoma, but is coming towards us. It includes the fringe areas, include Lincoln and Payne County, and it's coming towards us. I guarantee you they'll try to expand that. But initially, they could only find a few of those, and since they put it on the endangered species list, they found many more of them across the nation, New York, Illinois, several other states. And once it's declared an endangered species, the EPA is very well documented that it will not be removed. And so this is a concerted effort by all the counties in Oklahoma to seek to have them removed from the endangered species list. So that's the gist of this resolution.
There's 2 copies.
There's 2 copies.
And when y'all are done, just get them piled at the end, I'll just.
Chairman, could I call for maybe a formal reading of the resolution? For the public?
Sure. Call for a formal review.
Reading.
Reading. Certainly, I can read it. Whereas, it is the civic duty of county government to provide its citizens with infrastructure projects that contribute to the overall vitality and economy of our communities, and whereas the status of the American burying beetle is as endangered has prevented and slowed development by said county by requiring strict regulations and mitigation to preserve identified populations. And whereas the ABB population has grown significantly and appears to exist in far more areas than it did prior to its listing via the Endangered Species Act in 1989, and whereas the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has identified ABB populations in the Midwest which exceed initial recovery plan goals, including populations numbering in the thousands in Nebraska and Oklahoma, and whereas the ABB population growth has occurred despite very limited recovery projects by the FWS, underscoring how little is known about the ABB and its risk of extinction. And whereas as the expansion of the range and habitat of the ABB grows, so too does historic mitigation requirements, associated costs, and the diversion of project funds that could be used on critical infrastructure and economic development. And whereas despite all of the indications that the ABB is thriving and its listing as an endangered species is no longer necessary to support the ABB population, the FWS has not changed or removed the ABB from its listing. And whereas the delisting of the ABB could relieve our county of unnecessary regulation, mitigation, and financial costs, therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Logan County, Oklahoma support and respectfully request the removal of the ABB from the endangered species list under the ESA to free up valuable taxpayer funds for infrastructure projects and economic development vital to our citizens' needs. I would like to add to this that in visiting with Shannon Shepard, Chief Engineer for ODOT, that the state of Oklahoma has, or ODOT has purchased $7 million in the burying beetle credits, and that this comes right out of our infrastructure money, and there's a limited amount of credits that are available to purchase. This money goes to certified burying beetle farms across the nation to increase that population. Very difficult to get on that list of being those type of farmers, I might add. So, having said that.
So I'm just curious, under the resolution part where it says therefore be it resolved, who are we requesting that this be removed from? That this be removed? Who are we requesting this action?
We are a county, and we are requesting that the I believe it's the EPA remove this from the endangered species list.
I got a question. Jeffrey, when we do our,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
when we do our studies on these bridges, is this something we gotta take off?
Yes, it is. This is a major drain on the time consideration. It used to be that it would be just part of an action that the contractor had to do, a beta way when the bridge construction. There used to be an agreement between the federal highway and the state that they would just do a beta way. Then that agreement went away, so then it now is a full-blown study, which takes an additional amount of time. Somebody has to go out there, throw some dead chickens out there to see if they show up. This is in conjunction with a large number of counties to go into with the CED, so they can submit this to the state and to have the state take action with the EPA.
And this is y'all's tax dollars.
Exactly.
If we remove the EPA, that would solve a whole lot of this stuff.
You do not realize the level of what this does to a project, getting it done with the NEPA study.
Right, and that adds to the cost.
Well,
of
and the
people.
funny thing is you have our road, which we're only gonna do something once in a 3-month period, and then for 50 years, it won't make anything ever happen to it again, is right next to farms or tilled crops that he is turning over every year.
No
So,
comments.
You wanna sign both of them? Both of these. I'll make the motion. We get rid of these
Second.
dang old beetles.
Call it the bug bill, whatever.
Gee, Christmas.
Bug credits, that's what they call that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to number 9. Consideration and
You
possible
guys can
action.
leave that stuff down there. I'll pick it up.
Consideration and possible action on accepting Blanche Lane located in section 2015 North, 3 West for maintenance as time and money allow. Want me to read this? Let me read this out loud.
I think so.
All right, whereas residents of Blanche Lane have submitted a petition as a request attached for Logan County to accept their road for maintenance, and whereas the road is by definition a public road located in T15 North,
Township 15
Township 15 North,
range.
Range 3 West, Section 20, beginning at Charter Oak Road and extending approximately 2,000 feet north, and whereas the road is used by postal personnel, school buses, delivery and trash services, and emergency services, and whereas the Logan County Board of Commissioners have the discretionary authority to accept public roads for maintenance, therefore be it resolved that in the interest of the public good, the Logan County Board of Commissioners do agree to accept and maintain Blanche Lane for county maintenance as time and money allow. This
This is
is
your deal, Mark.
your deal? You
So-
have a petition.
Yeah, so the reason that came forward is so that we can legally expend county funds on maintaining that road. So I mean, unless we approve it, we can't really do that. If we have the money available, we couldn't even do it, right, legally. So that's what that's here for, is it requires a board action to approve it, to approve accepting it.
Now, as a clarification, we're not taking it over.
No.
This is a, basically, policy is we'll provide labor, fuel, equipment.
Right now, it's considered, my understanding, it's considered a public road that's privately maintained.
Correct.
Okay. And what we're doing here with this petition, what they're doing is asking that it still be a public road, but be publicly maintained if funds are available from the county. And that makes it legal for us to spend money on roads where our school buses go up and down in the postal period.
Basically, they're inviting us in to maintain
Yes.
their public road.
You know, we've got a county standard though that they're supposed to meet, but you have the right to waive it if you'd like.
Right, well, I mean,
They
that's for a
can't-
paid, that's for a paid road, right? I don't think-
Paved addition.
Is this something you want to support?
Yes.
Then I'll make the motion.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
Aye.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. Item 10, consideration and possible action on approving project agreement with ODOT for resurfacing of Charter Oak Road, beginning at Kelly Avenue and extending to Broadway Boulevard. And that's the SPP 142C project.
Again, this is another District 1 project. Basically, we had the legal review done, for, thanks for getting that back for us. That's basically the formality, is once the legal review is done, from what I understand. It's normally something that's approved.
I'll move.
I'll second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Can I?
Yes,
This affects me. So they have this is the legal agreement to put it on the levy, correct, Marvin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will finalize the plan soon.
Yes, sir.
Just needed to clarify that to make sure that I'm meeting the requirements.
Sounds good to me.
27,
Item number 11, consideration possible action on approving treasurer's transcripts of proceeding and county resale D2, Randy and Patricia Hott, for Langston block numbers 32, lots 10 and 23, block 46, lots 10, 14, and 23, and block 47, lot 15.
These are the transcripts. And this is the deed. And here's proof of the publication.
Is your road crossings? You're going to get crossed more than
I
anybody
know.
else's.
Unfortunately, they're mine. Motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. On to item 12, consideration possible action on approving the following temporary road crossing permit for Select Energy Service and Tetra Technology to select the Select Energy 40-inch water line that would be parallel County Line Road 3 miles west of Highway 74 and County Road 75.
All right.
Crossing, yeah, I think, do you want me to read all this?
Do y'all want to hear him read that?
I would hope not, so anyhow,
I'm good with it too, man.
all right.
All right.